Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And with that, it is a Purple Access, of course, brought to you by our friends, presenting sponsor of all Purple Daily products, all shows, Quick Trip. We appreciate their support. Judd, Chip Scoggins, a Star Tribune sports columnist, Ross Brendel, who produces this fine program. And Chipper, let's just start with the latest, the quarterback workouts, the pro days, the personal days that the Vikings are going to try and at least vet through this QB class. And I'm going to start you with this. So the league meetings, which occurred earlier this week in Florida. I'm not sure about you, but I didn't sense there was any real attempt to hide what the goal is here. And I buy it completely. The last time I felt this confident about what the Vikings intended to do in the first round was the year that we covered the team together, 2009, when Percy Harvin, when we both knew if Percy Harvin falls, they ain't passing, and they didn't, and he did fall. I feel equally as confident, not about who the quarterback is going to be, but I will be very surprised if the Vikings are not drafting 3rd, 4th, or at the latest 5th on April 25th for the draft.
Yeah, when you're making out your mock draft, Judd, have him pick a quarterback with the first pick, because that's what's going to happen. Kevin O'Connell did not try to play the subterfuge game, did not try to be coy about they're going to draft a quarterback. Now, which one? That you don't know, because you don't know what the other teams are looking for. To me, I think are they going to get to 3 or 4? Like, I don't think Washington's going to trade out of there. I think they're taking Daniels. Yep. Caleb obviously go 1, Daniels 2. So now you're at 3 in New England. Do they sit tight? Do they take J.J. McCarthy? Do they take Drake Maye? Do they try to trade to get a ton of draft picks? So I think at minimum they're going to go up. The Vikings are going to try to get to 4. Mm-hmm. And if you go to 4, then you're basically saying you're going to have your choice probably if the Patriots stand pat of either McCarthy or May.
I think so. I am inclined to agree with you. Caleb goes first to Chicago. I think Washington stays put. I don't think Washington wants to trade. Now, I could be proven absolutely wrong, but it feels to me in a big way, Chipper, like picks 3, 4, and 5 are open for business. And I say that about the Patriots because of this. And I realize this is considered to be like a generationally really, really good QB draft. But Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots in Orlando, basically said, as a fan, I'd love to take a quarterback, but we know, and what that tells me is with Ron Wolf's son, Elliott, having complete control of the drafting process.
Yes.
And, Ron Wolf was an architect of football teams. Yes, he got Favre, but the Packers, when he popped Favre in, that was sort of the last piece to a puzzle that really took off. I think that given that when you look at the Patriots and all of their needs, and I mean, they are in bad shape. Like I also think that the Panthers from 2023 are now a cautionary tale, right? Which is, hey, we plopped our quarterback in. Oh my God, it's still a mess. So I really think that you can make a very good case that the Patriots, the Cardinals, and Chargers are all open for business. And the only question is, what are you willing to give up to get to, let's say, 3 as opposed to 4?
Yeah, and you have to look at Broncos. Are they at 12? Are they behind the Vikings?
12. They're
right
behind the Vikings. Yes, they are.
I don't know what kind of ammunition they have, but I got to imagine they're going to be aggressive to try to move up.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like the draft starts at number 3, right? I could be wrong about Washington completely, but I just feel confident that they're going to take Jane Daniels. Yeah, it's hard to know because you're right that the Patriots do have a million holes, and that if you play your cards right, they can come out of this with a lot of high draft picks to really rebuild your roster. But man, if you're in love with the quarterback and you feel like he's your franchise quarterback, there's no harder position to fix. And 100%. The thing that I found fascinating, Judd, is it's the silly season, and so some of this is the JJ McCarthy. Is it steam or momentum that has really picked up since the end of the season? I find that fascinating, because all season people were talking about Caleb Williams and Jaden McDaniels and Drake Maye, and now all of a sudden, I don't know if it's the workouts or if it's agents putting us out or teams putting us out or just part of the whole subterfuge of the pre-draft draft process. But now it's almost like McCarthy's in that with that group, right? Has separated from the Michael Penix.
He's in the big four, feels like.
When we started to this, it was three, and then Michael Penix,
right?
JJ McCarthy, maybe Bo Nix, was in that next tier. But McCarthy is, whether it's true or not, I have no idea. But it seems like from all the mock drafts, he's in that discussion to be in that four.
When you read about these guys too, and see their tape and things, and watch them from their college careers, Chipper, I keep coming back to this. It looks to me like Drake Maye is the most perfect O'Connell fit. Like if you're going to lift a quarterback out, and all of these guys should improve. So I'm not saying that the Vikings are drafting a finished product, but when you look at the film, when you look at what they do, when you look at those intangibles, and O'Connell said in Florida, and he has said this before, accuracy is my starting point. Like I want that.
Yeah.
It feels like Drake Maye, and to go back to that Gopher game, Drake Maye made some unbelievable passes, and I'm not sure that team was that good. Like that's the thing, is you didn't look at that team and think, oh, what a high flying juggernaut North Carolina is. I just keep coming back to a feeling that Drake Maye is O'Connell's like perfect fit guy.
Yeah, I was there that day, so got to see it live. Now he had 2 interceptions that were just poor throws. Now, I will say that the second one that was right before where I can't remember who it was, but he jumped a route, made a nice play. I would tend to say that was more of a really good defensive play than on the quarterback. First one was a poor throw. But if you go back and watch that game, Judd, it felt like he converted third downs at like 80%. I mean, if it was a 3rd and 6, he was getting 8 yards. I mean, he absolutely picked apart that Joe Rossi defense on 3rd down, and it was just pinpoint. I mean, he had such control of that game. Is like, and that was a new defense, has some new secondary guys, but they looked helpless trying to figure him out on 3rd down. And so I walked away impressed with him. I thought he was really good. The arm, all the things that you heard about him. I was equally impressed. I really liked when I saw JJ McCarthy live. The thing that I didn't, or maybe underestimated with him, was just his mobility. Mm-hmm. He was more elusive and kind of maybe faster than I thought. And I will say that night game in the press box, I may have mentioned this before, there was Kwesi, Ryan Grigson, Ryan Mons, and then another executive. They had their 4 top personnel executives there. Now we could say, well, Michigan has, a ton of guys that are going to be NFL draft picks, and why wouldn't you send everybody there? But it's not hard to deduce that they were there to see bring the whole crew there to see JJ McCarthy. I mean, there were 4 of your top executives there. Normally, you might have 1, maybe 2, not 4. I can't remember ever seeing 4. And so I have to guess that they've narrowed in on those 2. I mean, Daniels and Caleb, like when you watch those 2, they're kind of magicians on the field, the way they move and all those things. I don't think they're going to be available to them, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I don't I think Washington is going to take Daniel. I think the price would be too high. But what is if you feel like you're in love with Drake Maye, what's it going to take to get the 3 to secure that you get Drake Maye?
Well, and that's my guess, is it's your 2025 first, which I don't think the Vikings
yes.
like that's the question. I'm pretty sure the answer I just gave you is 1,000% correct. But the real question is then, okay, if you're not great in 25, I'm not saying that you're going to pull a Carolina and give the first overall pick to the team that you trade with. I am saying that could easily be a top 10 pick. And so here's here's the question. Well, there's 2 questions we don't know. One is, do they clearly think that Drake Maye is 3 steps up from McCarthy, because like we're associating from what we're hearing that McCarthy has moved into this hypothetical Mount Rushmore of draft quarterbacks. Do the Vikings feel that way? Because if there's not a clear delineation there, then you're going to say we'll take McCarthy. And the other thing that we can't know, and it's one of the most important things, but only they will have a feel, is mental makeup of these kids.
Yeah.
It's so important for quarterbacks. It's the one position where if he's got talent, but you whiff on the fact that he's a airhead, a dunderhead, whatever, it's not going to matter.
2 things on that. First, Judd, what's the difference in price between moving to 4 and moving to 3, do you think?
I think the 2025 first comes out moving to 4. Because it's 11-23 and maybe another pick.
A third or something?
Well, or a
Fourth,
third next year. But I think you can extract, I think you take out the 2025 first. I think, but then to your point, let's say the Patriots make the pick and Denver's coming up.
Well, that's it.
Like there's...
To me, you have to be nervous of Denver, and you don't want to be you can't get leapfrogged there by them, I mean, it's a fascinating kind of not game of chicken, but just to see how this is going to play out. But that's where I think O'Connell and their staff talked about it down at the owners' meetings about going to lunch on campus with these guys to see how students interact. I mean, to me, that's awesome.
100% right.
Get on their turf, because agents coach draft prospects to no end before the thing, rehearse questions you're going to get. They do mock interviews, all these things leading up to you. So a guy can fool you for what do they get? 15 minutes at a time in those
at the combine. I think it's 12 to 15 now. Yeah,
they can fool you.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where O'Connell and the staff is really going to spend a lot of time with talking to everybody, going out to meetings with them, going to dinner with them, seeing how I saw Poles, the Bears GM, I saw him quoted saying that Caleb Williams didn't touch his phone the whole time that they had dinner. I mean, little things like that. I mean, it may seem like, okay, does this really matter? Everything matters. Like literally when you're making this kind of decision, there's no more important position in terms of obviously playing, but being a leader, someone everyone's going to follow that you can trust. And so you better get as much knowledge and information about the kid's personality. I should call him kid, the guy's personality, how he is around. Is he a jerk when to teammates? Is he a jerk to employees in the cafeteria or fellow students? That's what you want to know. Get around him. And I always say this, remember 3 days before they drafted Percy Harvin, Childress went down to Florida and wanted to ride around in his car to see, just to see where they went, how it smelled, and what he acted like, and all those things, because the whole marijuana thing, he test right before it.
Yeah, drug test at the combine
before the draft. Yeah, and so at the combine, and so that's Childress wanted to be around Percy as much as he could, try to figure out, okay, do I feel comfortable making this? And this is a different situation, obviously, because there's so much, different things that go into be the quarterback, but. I mean, this is where O'Connell, I'm guessing, is going to spend a ton of time around these quarterbacks.
And that's a wide receiver. So,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's a position that's not nearly as important to be the type of guy that can take control in a huddle and do that. Roscoe, your thoughts on what's transpired in the past week or so regarding the quarterbacks?
Yeah, and I actually had a question to turn around back on you guys, because I love everything that Chip was saying about probably Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are off the board. I think we know Caleb will go number 1.
Yep.
Jaden, I think everybody assumes he's going to go number 2. So what I'm wondering with the Minnesota Vikings, we always talk about, if you identify the guy that you want, and maybe they're doing their due diligence right now, we know they are on JJ McCarthy and Drake Maye. Is it possible that they can get themselves to a point, instead of giving up X amount to get to number 3, so we can get our guy, that's JJ McCarthy or Drake Maye? Is it possible the Vikings let it play out during the draft, make that decision when it gets down to pick number 4 or 5 and see who's left? And maybe they can talk themselves to the point of, hey, we like both of these guys and we think we can win with both of them. And if we can protect some future capital and still obtain one of them, let's go that route versus giving up more to guarantee getting one of them. Do we think that at all is a part of their process, or does it have to be as simple as no, between these two, you got to pick the one and go all in? Because I still think with Kwesi, excuse me, and the front office, I still think we're learning about them. I don't think we necessarily still know how much they value or don't value the draft capital that they have.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying could they like them both equally and be happy with either one?
Correct. And could it be to the point where they say, hey, instead of picking one, let's just see which one is left over, then make the move so we can protect as much future assets as possible?
You'd be playing with fire because Denver might come up and give a better offer, and then you're left with nothing.
And then you're screwed.
Then you're in real trouble. Then
Which
then I guess you keep your picks and have 2 first-round picks, but that's not what they want to do.
But that leads you to believe that this trade more than likely will happen prior to the draft. Correct? It probably won't happen when the Patriots are on the clock. Five could happen on the clock.
Night. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because again, you have another team or maybe multiple teams out there that you don't know what their thinking is, but you have a pretty good idea they're going to be aggressive, try to get a quarterback. So I think you have to play offense, not defense with this situation.
Especially with this. Like if you've decided that you've identified and let's say Ross is right. I mean, there is a chance that they will say, we love Maye, but McCarthy, we think the upside's huge and we like him as much. And those two are equals. Then that's fine. But so here's
you still have to get to 4 though, right, Judd? In that situation,
and I was going to say
4.
You could call the Patriots today and say 11-23, 2025 first and something else. And you could probably get that trade done. The question is, how much certainty do you want? And I understand trying to preserve the 2025 first, but if you get too cute, you could really screw yourself here. I just don't trust that the Broncos, that the Raiders, that perhaps the Giants who are at 6.
Yeah.
I don't trust them not to say, we're going to go for it. And now you're left out of the prom. You didn't get invited. You went and bought the damn dress and you're sitting at home. So like, that's the thing is, how much are you willing to gamble here? How much are you going to, and the one thing that concerns me, and Ross, you're right. We don't know. There's a lot we don't know, especially about Kwesi and like his style of operation yet. But the one thing that concerns me, and I say this all the time, is don't get too cute.
Yes.
Don't try and outsmart a system that you're probably not as smart as you think. Like, I think we all should start each day saying we're probably not as smart as we think. So don't try and outsmart a system that is really eating people up for a long time. And that's pro sports.
And I would go into this and say, I don't trust anyone. I'm going to be aggressive because if you're even hesitant, I think one of these teams might leapfrog you. And if you think, wow, that's a lot to give up in the future, there is nothing more important than getting the quarterback situation right. Nothing on this roster, and whatever it takes to get it done. And this is where, if you're trusting in your eyes and trusting in their knowledge of that quarterback position, if they say, man, this is I believe this guy, then you have to make that happen and not worry about maybe, we could slide a little bit or wait a little bit and
get cute.
Like you said, Judd, get cute. I mean, because these other the Raiders, who knows what they're going to do? Giants. Right. I mean, I know they paid him $40 million, but they can't be married to him longer. I would
No, and you know what? It would hurt them to get out of the Jones contract after 2024, but it's certainly possible. So nope, exactly right. In fact, you know what, Roscoe? Chipper, let's say goodbye. You broke up, but that's fine because it's been a great discussion. So talk to you. Boy, what's that? Is that going to be 2 weeks before the draft?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So we will
draft
talk.
Time, baby.
Oh man, this is a great time of year, great sports time of a year. Chipper, we appreciate the time. Roscoe, great work. We will talk to you next week on Purple Access. Thanks again to our friends from Quick Trip.